r/ask Reddit. What's the one thing that you thought was easy but turned out to be extremely difficult when you actually attempted it? Finding a better job once I had a few years experience in the field. I've been in the printing industry for 20 years. About 5 years ago, I finally got out of the press room and into the office doing estimating. I figured I would do that for a couple of years then find something else in a different industry. Nope. Can't find anything making as much as I currently do. I'm trapped. I took this job thinking it would be temporary. That was in April 2000. Everything in this field got sent to India right around then. So there aren't a lot of options. I feel your pain. Your life ain't over. It's just taking a little longer than expected. Nothing is forever. The more specialized and experienced you get, the fewer jobs there are that are worth taking. It takes longer and longer to find an opportunity to advance. That, and ageism is a real issue. OP might work in a specialty where experience really isn't that important, and most owners don't want to invest in training someone to adjusting to their system only to have him retire relatively soon compared to a younger, much cheaper individual. On top of that, other factors such as the shrinkage of middle management positions all around, and technology reducing staffing needs of existing jobs also contribute to fewer overall opportunities for someone like OP. Oh, sure, I can write a novel. 90,000 words. Piece of piss. Yep, writing a book is easy. Writing a good book that people actually want to read and where everything sort of flows in vaguely the direction you want, way harder. Along the same lines, writing anything well is far more difficult than it has any right to be. It seems like it should be easy to get your choice of words, your phrasing, and your punctuation right on the first attempt, but then you start typing and make small mistakes that completely alter what you meant. After all, omitting a single comma can change a sentence from "come on, people" to "well, you get the idea. Let's eat grandma." Waking up early, like just an hour earlier than my usual time, and I'm a ducking zombie. I woke up at 5:45 am last Wednesday and I'm still recovering. Playing drums. Or I should say playing drums well. Yup, it gets worse. Too. As you become a more technically proficient drummer, you learn that rudiments and sick beats don't create songs. The truly great drummers can determine what a song needs, and they play within that space. Playing a simple rhythm on beat. Playing complicated stuff with varying tempo. I tried to just do a basic drum roll once. I figured that would be self-explanatory. Just hit the snare in a regular beat. I have formal musical training even. Just not on drums. Nope. Sounded like a snare rolling down the stairs. It's all about using the rebound of the stick to your advantage. The way I teach rolls is this. Hold the stick very loosely and let it drop onto the head. It'll bounce like a ball a few times. Now slowly add downward pressure until you can get it to bounce very quickly, like a buzzing sound for a half second. Now do that, alternating hands in such a way that each buzz blends into each next buzz. Drywall and general home repairs. I am riding a single room. Remodeling from plaster and lathe. My advice, always buy at least one extra of anything you need from the hardware store, and estimate an extra 2-3 hours of labor. Truth is, if you've never done a project before you need time to screw it up once then go back and fix it. Before we bought a house I had no idea how much maintenance was involved. The thought of replacing our shower and tub was keeping me up at night. Said duck it and have a contractor coming tomorrow. My suggestions. Tell them you will pay for materials separately when they bring you receipts. Contractors try and make more money using less hardware or skipping steps. This prevents that. Pay at most half up front and half once it's done. Shit contractors will get the job 90% done and then put your job on the back burner. Pay by the job, not the time. Get everything that needs to be done in writing, including finish steps. The amount of that was never in the agreement I have run into is unreal. Good luck. Painting. Professionals make it look incredibly easy but it just becomes a sloppy mess when I try. Are we talking walls or art? Both TBH. Taking care of my aging parents. They say that there is a time when you need to parent your parents, but I don't think that's a good analogy. I thought I would visit them more, make some doctor's appointment, Hire house cleaners and aides when necessary, or maybe find a nice assisted living facility for them. No way. They didn't want any of that at all. It wasn't like parenting a child at all. More like needing to beg, plead, demand, or yell for them to allow me to do even minimal things that will keep their lives from totally falling apart and taking mine with it. And that still didn't work. Writing you here from the broken life I saw coming a mile away. Not everyone's elderly parents are like this. And mine were the most relaxed, empathic, organized people I ever knew growing up. Old age made them difficult and irrational, and they just weren't able to see things logically or from my perspective anymore. So deep were they in the anxiety, fear, and stress of just dealing with their life. I'll never forget the week my grandfather's, much younger, wife left him with us so she could go on holiday without him. He was an irrational shell of a human being and had somehow got this idea that she was never coming back. Probably because she would not answer any of his calls, or ours for that matter. He was also not allowed to drink anymore as recommended by his doctors. But he constantly plagued my dad to bring him for a pint every night despite us reminding him of this every time it came up. In the end it was easier to give in and my dad to go up and get the drinks in the hope he could sneak a non-alcoholic beer into a pint glass for him. I can barely comprehend how much age can change people, and how removing a codependent partner from a person's life can send them into a kind of breakdown when they are already vulnerable because of their age health. To be honest, I try to block the thought of this happening to my own parents from my mind. It's too terrible to think about. Right there with you. Trying to argue with my mother to get her life sorted out after my dad passed has been the bane of my existence, and my sister's, for years now. She's helpless and yet she won't accept help. It's like beating my head against a wall. Whistling. I am 23 years old and still haven't figured it out. I learned WT at a younger age, but then I forgot at one point and now I again relearned it. I can't whistle the traditional way. There's a slight gap in my teeth where I whistle through. It sounds different. Not giving a shit. I kept sort of giving a shit. Quitting sugar. It's literally in everything. Singing. Not professional or even in front of people, but just singing along to a song. I was just cleaning the house one day and had YouTube playing music vids. Sweet Child O' Mine came up with lyrics. I've sung this song hundreds of times, but I stopped and was reading the lyrics as I sang and holy hell, I freaking suck. I know the words but I was listening to myself sing them. Off key, out of tune, bad phrasing, you name it. I did it bad. Took me 53 years to realize this. I sing all the time, have performed more times than I can remember, and have had plenty of people tell me I have a great voice, yet I often go flat, mess up phrasing, or miss the timing when at home trying to sing along to songs. My point. Singing is hard. You have to practice it a lot to be consistently good at it, and some days your vocal cords don't want to work with you no matter how hard you try. Learning a different language. Oh yes, I thought, okay, I made it with English. French will be no harder, 2 years tops. Oh la la. Native French speaker here, it's ooh la la. You see. I envy all native speakers. I try so hard to learn languages but lose motivation a few weeks in. I've managed to keep up my French though purely because I'm not allowed to stop. Ice skating. Dude, there's 7-year-old kids on the rink dancing. It can't be that hard. Falls, gets up. Falls, hits barrier. Falls, god damn it. Ice skating is one of those skills that when you get it right, it just clicks. But then you'll hit another wall, pun sort of intended, when you figure out how to move at a decent speed and be able to turn decent. But then you need to learn to stop. Same thing. With practice. One day it just clicks and you can do those edge stops like it's nothing. On one side. Rinse and repeat. Best advice for learning to ice skate is to simply stop trying to walk on the ice. Pretty much every new person tries to walk, but in reality it's way harder to do that until you get your balance on the ice. As the name implies, you have to skate, even if the best you can do is scooting yourself along with one foot. Also make sure to use hockey skates rather than figure skates. Cold shower. Doing light physical activity to get your heart rate up helps with easing in. Also just a hot, humid day. Nice, cool showers felt amazing over the past 2 days here in Massachusetts. The trick is to start lukewarm and then lower the temperature. The shock of stepping under ice cold water just makes your heart rush. Not beneficial in this case. Squatting with one leg in the air and then getting back up. Pistol squats are death. Today I learned they're called pistol squats. And yes, I'd rather do planks for an hour instead of doing that. Holding my leg and trying to jump and get my other leg through my leg and arm. Why did you think that's easy? I get scared just thinking about attempting it. IKR. I can easily picture my face in the ground. Quitting drinking. By contrast, quitting smoking was much easier. Nicotine has patches. Alcohol only has the DTs. Delirium tremens? No thank you. I'll have a drink instead. Pen spinning. In high school I knew a girl who used to spin it like this and it was awesome to watch. I didn't see what was so hard about it until I attempted it myself. It took a few months of daily practice, along with using finger muscles that I wasn't used to using, but I'm now able to do it without thinking. Tips on how to learn? Go to do something while pretending to work. Cashiering. I didn't realize how much it drained your soul, and almost didn't come back from it. I don't even know why it was so hard on me. The work itself was extremely easy, but I always got so depressed and after shifts I was exhausted. If I hadn't quit, I think I would have destroyed my mental health. It's a demand to be on the entire shift. Think about a day you have off. You directly interact with strangers maybe 5-6 times in an 8-hour shift as a cashier. Depending on where you work, it could be anywhere from 50 to 2,000 transactions. And unlike personal life, you have to be friendly and upbeat and semi-unique with each and every one of them. Plus do other tasks when it's slow. Even 2 or 3 shitty customers can ruin the entire day and make it that much more stressful. Being an adult. All my life I was told how college would lead to automatic success for my future. Then I graduated in 2008. College was the best 14 years of my life. Surfing. Really thought my 20 years of skate and snowboarding would help me out. Nope, I got exhausted just putting on the wetsuit. Then trying to paddle and pop up. Forget it. Juggling. Losing weight. Calories in versus calories out. Simple, except I'm addicted to food in more ways than should be allowed. I started calorie counting over a year ago as a means to at least see what I was putting in my body. It made me stop eating so much in the beginning because of the shame I felt for easily putting like 3,000 calories in my body in a day. Calling Domino's to order pizza. You have to sit through messages that encourage you to order online. They say it's quicker and easier than the phone. Then proceed to make that true by taking forever for a human to come on. Why don't you just order it online? LOL. You don't really have to interact with people. Late but waitressing. I became a waitress 3 weeks ago and I still haven't got the hang of it. 5 tables doesn't seem like much in theory, but geez is it difficult. Horseback riding. Because it's literally just sitting on a horse, and the horse is doing all the work. Turns out it's pretty difficult and physically demanding to get the horse to do what you want it to do. First time I rode a horse, technically the only time, was in a group on a trail and all the group's horses were just following the guy who knew how. Second attempt I was volunteering at a therapy ranch where we were allowed to ride on our breaks. I just got on the horse and then just sat there trying to get it to move and completely failing. Gave up after probably 10 minutes. Flirting with women. Dropping everything in your life to go back to college at the age of 29. School isn't what's difficult. It's the fact that I'm broke again that makes it much harder. Hooray for student debt. Networking on Unity. Me and a codev tried to get multiple rigid bodies per character across the network for a physics-based game. It can't be that hard, all these indies do it. Well, 1. It's all faked, and 2. Oh god. French braid. I can knit, crochet, weave. My mind will not absorb how to French braid. Gather from left, over the middle, gather from right, over the middle, repeat 30x. Piano. It's never going to be easy, but it gets a lot easier when you actually enjoy playing it. Easiest instruments to play a note, one of the harder ones to master. I grew up as a bassist and a saxophonist. I picked up piano a few years ago so I could play by myself more, and wow, Does it get difficult really quickly? Skateboarding. I thought jumping on a skateboard ollie will literally take a couple of hours to learn. Yet it took many days to do it while moving and it still looked ducking awful. Flipping a skate in the air while it does 360 took me 2 years to learn. Then there's a stance called switch, which is basically doing the same trick but an uncomfortable stance for you. Different leg front. Learning to switch 360 flip and grind slide on rails in that stance will take years and years of practice. Getting my confidence back after my last breakup. I've usually been able to move on fairly quickly before after a brief sulking period. It's been 5 or 6 years since and I still haven't been that good. I'm definitely more each year but just not close to what I want myself to be. Having a long-term relationship. It's not the big things like birthdays and anniversaries. It's keeping up with the everyday things. That being said, when done right, it's one of the best things in the world. Flirting. God, I'm awful. Calculus in college. Oh man. I went to college thinking I wanted to be a physicist. Very strong all the way through the highest level of calculus my high school had. Then multivariable calculus. Then quantum physics. I am a lawyer. I like how being a lawyer is an easier route. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.